Have you done the other one? Good afternoon and welcome to today's EvoStick Southern Premier League match. We're here at the Valley Stadium, home of Redditch United Football Club, on the Bromsgrove Road in Redditch for today's match against Slough. We're just waiting for the teams to come out at the bottom. I'll run through the teams with you. We'll start with the Slough team. In goal is Luke Williams, 2 Sean Fraser, 3 and captain is Ryan Parsons, 4 Guy Hollis, 5 Billy Jeffrey, 6 Ben Edwards, 7 Tom Moran, 8 is George Short, 9 Scott Harris, 10 Ed Smith, 11 Jake Parsons, and 3 subs for the Rebels today. Adam Fowler wears 12, 14 is James Dobson, 15 is Gherkin Gockman. Reece York did travel but unfortunately fell ill on the coach, so he will take no part today. Redditch will be playing in red, black, and their team goes as this. Sam Hornby's in goal, 2 is Jordan Jones, 3 Callum Flanagan, 4 is Calvin Dinsley, 5 is Daniel Scarr, 6 is Clayton McDonald, 7 is Simon May, 8 is Liam Spink, Luke Shearer wears 9, captain is Ashley Salmons who wears 10, George Carlisle is 11, and there's 5 subs for the Robins today. That's Joel Keynes 12, Courtney Baker Richardson is 14, Lee Phillips 15, Dwar Angus 16 and Jamie Molyneux 17. Today's referee is Joe Clark, and we hope that he will be ably assisted today by Richard Cattell and Joel Richards. For all of those who think that you're going to have to listen to my boring voice for the entire 90 minutes, unfortunately you won't have to, because John is here today. He's just piddling around with the computer, aren't you, John?
Yeah, afternoon all. It's a lovely, bright, sunny afternoon here in the Midlands. There's a big flag over the far side as we look at it. We're in the main stand. It's a bit old-fashioned. We're just to the right-hand side of the halfway line. The dugouts are on the far side, and you can see the Slough bench already fully kind of populated over on the far side, kind of looking slightly into the sun as against us. But it's a nice old ground, isn't it?
It's not bad. It's got terracing at the far end on our right-hand side, but the left-hand side is just a little bit of grass that's cordoned off, which I suppose you could quite easily put a stand on. There's a long stand down the side, which is where the Redditch, I don't know, massive maybe you'd call them, lurked, trying to make some noise, and the Rebels fans are just coming out.
How many people have travelled up, would you say, from Slough today?
On the coach there's about 33, but I know there's a lot more as the players come out. So Redditch are wearing red shirts, black shorts, black socks. Slough will be in their all-purple kit. Luke Williams is in an all-yellow kit today, and the goalkeeper for Redditch is in a silver top, silver pants, and looks like blue socks.
Blue socks.
The mascot just going along shaking hands as the teams do their normal thing. And the number 6 for Redditch is absolutely humongous. He's got to be about 6'6".
Yeah, who is that? McDonald?
McDonald, yes.
Yeah, McDonald of certain infamy. He's an ex-professional.
Yeah, he's 6'6", but he's got to weigh at least 16 stone, I'd say.
He is. He's a very good quality footballer. Ex-footballer, been playing at Walsall and Port Vale historically. I think he was at Southport earlier in the season, and he was also in the Man City Youth Academy, where he was rooming with a certain Ched Evans, who obviously has been going through some off-the-pitch issues.
You roomed with him?
Yeah, well, not roomed, as in kind of was in the same digs. I think at one stage.
The referee's got a problem already.
No, he's just having a warm-up. He's just doing a little warm-up there away to us. He's wearing a nice black outfit, black Under Armour. Over there is a Redditch. There's a strong breeze that looks to be going from right to left as we look at it, going down the hill with Redditch at the moment. They're stood in the right-hand half as we look at it. It's not going to rain, we don't think, is it? But it's quite a bright, brisk.
No, yes, it's quite nice. It's just we have a rather lofty position for the directors of both team, and the wind is blowing through, unfortunately, but. The one good thing about Redditch Stadium is you can actually sit in the bar, have a couple of beers and watch the game from the bar, as that is allowed, and it's big windows all the way down the side.
Yeah, and both teams that are out here on the pitch today aren't in fantastic form. Both only having won once in their last 6 appearances, drawn a couple, and Redditch certainly haven't won in 5. So they're not looking great. They've drawn their last couple against a couple of strong teams, and I think obviously Slough looking for a bit of a better return than the fixture earlier this season in Holloway's when they were trounced 7-1 at home, their biggest league defeat in some time.
Yeah, indeed. But the last few fixtures for Redditch, they've lost at home to Portland Rovers, who one of the form teams in the league. So looks like there's going to be a minute's silence. So we're going to come off the air for a little bit for the referees.
Jim Whitman's granddad, and sadly passed away on Wednesday morning. So a minute's silence on the sound of the referee's whistle.
The minute silence there, well observed by all in the ground. And just to give you an idea of how windy it was, during the minute silence, the ball rolled off its spot in the centre spot. The ball was.
I was just listening to below us was someone with their phone going off with some kind of like redneck ringtone.
I couldn't quite hear what it was. It did sound slightly embarrassing. Slough are going to be shooting from left to right, slightly up the hill in their all purple away MyFC kit, looking resplendent as ever. And I've heard recently that actually I think they're going to be keeping that on for another season, not changing that shirt at the end of this season, but looking to change it and then alternate home shirts one year, away shirts the next.
Yeah, that's normally how it's been at Slough, so that the fans don't have to fork out for 2 shirts at the beginning of one season. And there are photos of the 4 proposed sites, which will be on a site so that you can actually choose which one you feel is one that you'd like, and that favourite one will be the home kit for next season.
Yeah, and immediately George Short gets us underway. The ball's rolled back to him and he blasts the ball into the right back position, quite deep, quite aerial, and it's out of play, playing for territory. The pitch isn't one conducive for football. It looks almost to me, Ade, a bit more like a kind of August type pitch or late on this season. It's very dry, and very dusty.
The number 5 has Dinsley has just, was it Scar? So just get the ball straight out the ground and actually over the protruding fence. So that's not bad. We're 25 seconds in and he's got it out of the ground.
Obsessed with balls in and out of the ground. I'm not quite sure what's going on.
There's a MyFC bingo going on that now.
Oh, is it? Okay. Guy Hollis with a long throw. Plenty of height up there today. George Short in there. Ed Smith battling around, as is Jeffries. There's a bit of pushing and shoving going on in there, but it's ricocheted out towards the edge of the box. Jake Parsons picks it up, clips it directly off the head of May there, and it's ricocheted all the way back to Ryan Parsons. Plays a long ball forward. It's not going to test anybody. A few other interesting games in this division today. So we've got Arsley versus Banbury, Biggleswade Corby. Biggleswade haven't won, I think, in something like 3 months. Burnham host Poulton, Chesham Weymouth, Chippenham Hitchin, Cirencester Truro, Dorchester Histon, Dunstable Froome, Hungerford Bideford, Poole host St Neots, and Cambridge City are the team today that don't have a fixture. And it's interestingly enough, as the ball just bobbled up awkwardly there in front of the keeper Williams, but he did very well with it, caught it nicely. But that's going to be a worry for the keepers here, isn't it? Yeah,
the pitch isn't the best around the goal mouse. It's very, very marked, and you expect that from the football pitches this time of year. But there is a heck of a slope on this one, and especially on the corner flags to the right side that Slough are kicking at. Seems to be a little dip just before you get to the penalty area. Ball's played over the top for Shearer to taste. It's being chased by Hollis, and Hollis does well to keep that one in. Brings the ball out up to Ed Smith, just in his own half, but loses out to Redditch, and Redditch can bring it back with McDonald. McDonald? Is it McDonald?
It is McDonald.
Has he got a farm?
No, and it's both.
Has he got a takeaway shop?
No, and it's both.
What's he want?
Both the manager and the number 6 sharing the same surname of McDonald but they
Oh,
are
there you
not
go, look
related
at
to
that.
one another at all. As the
So
ball's
you
just
have
out of play
got
on the
your
far
uses,
side,
haven't you, Paul?
as Guy
No
Hollis
matter
down
what
in the
anyone
left-back
says.
position. Going to throw the ball up the line. He throws it up the line over the halfway line in the direction of Scott Harris, but it's well won there by Redditch, who hooked the ball forward, and Billy Jeffries is called into action, tries to clear the ball. It's up onto the halfway line. It is really bobbling around in there.
There is a change to the Redditch lineup. Number 9 isn't Luke Shearer, it is Courtney Baker Richardson, and Luke Shearer is the number 14 shirt. Latest change there before the team sheets come out.
Scott Harris just wore one in the face there as Dinsley was trying to clear the ball through. It's all a little bit harum-scarum in these first few minutes. Once again, Hollis is involved. Neil Baker's touch isn't bad as he collects it on the far side, but both these teams' next opponents are Cambridge City. I think presumably Redditch travel on Tuesday or Wednesday evening. I think is it Wednesday that Cambridge play their midweek games?
Tuesday, isn't it?
And Slough host them at Holloway's. It seems to be a long while, and obviously at Holloway's there's been the new shed put in at the end. Sorry, am I not allowed to mention the new shed?
Of course you are. You can mention it.
Don't mention the wall. As coming away with the ball down the left-hand side is Carline up against Fraser. Chips it infield. It's ricocheted off George Short all the way back to Luke Williams, who will pick the ball up. And the 3 or 4 stewards look behind that goal away to our left-hand side, which Williams is occupying, look thoroughly cold and dejected. I think one of them's on his mobile phone, but not an awful lot going on down there.
No, Jake Parsons with the ball on the far side. He's just been tackled by Liam Spink, so it's a throw-in for the Rebels just by the away dugout on the halfway line. Ryan Parsons to take. He's going long towards Scott Harris. Does well to win the ball. It's out to George Short. Back into Tom Moran. But Redditch come away with the ball. But George Short gets a header. Jake Parsons tries to win it in midfield, but May wins it for Redditch. But Sean Fraser comes out. He's got to get... That's a foul on Sean Fraser there, and it was Liam Spink just chasing Sean there as a loose ball. He didn't need to make the tackle.
And Ed Smith's really dejected as that ball went through, and Ed Smith screaming at the referee to play advantage because the ball went forward, and it's the first nasty tackle. I think if that happened 10 or 15 minutes later, that would have almost certainly been a booking. But the referee, Mr. Clark's been slightly lenient there with Spink.
I can understand what Ed was saying about playing the advantage, but I don't think the referee realised where the ball was actually going to go.
No, he was more concerned about the tackle.
The fall on the ground being hard as well.
But Slough are going to have their second opportunity to get the ball into the box. It's going to be Ryan Parsons on this near right-hand side, clipping the ball in. He puts it in the direction of Billy Jeffries, and Tom Moran heads it. It's not really tested, and Ed Smith just gets a little bump there off I think it was Simmons as he was making his way back upfield. But game really yet to settle. We've played 5 minutes. It remains goalless here.
It's just gone in as well, so it's just getting a bit chillier.
It's a grey overcast. There's nothing as yet to really warm these either sets of supporters up. There's a reasonable number of people in the Valley Stadium this afternoon, a number of Redditch fans. Obviously they're huddled on that on the far side under a bit of covering to maybe get a bit more noise. There's seating behind one of the ends, which is a little bit unusual, as Redditch has cleared the ball forward and it's gone all the way through, and Salmons does well, but it's well won there by Ryan Parsons, who hooks the ball forward in the direction of Jake Parsons, but it's cleared away, out of play on the near side, and Slough will have to defend. Corby have taken an early lead against Biggleswade, so Biggleswade's form isn't getting any better.
No, they're not doing very well, in danger of maybe relegation.
Yeah, and
as Ben Edwards wins a throw-in for the Rebels, just inside their own half. Going to be another long throw from Guy Hollis.
And at the moment, it's just interesting to see exactly how Slough line up. It's quite a fluid formation. Obviously, they've got a number of changes in because today Adam Martin is suspended. Dan Brown has gone back to Wheelstone, we understand. I don't think he wanted to travel up to
Jake's just won a free kick there from another foul by number 8, Liam Spink, and he's got to be careful.
Yeah,
because 2 fouls committed both by him, and we're only 6 minutes into the game, so he's going to have to be careful of how he goes on. Yeah,
so the Slough team struggling. Obviously the McClurg's still looking after the twins at home. He's not fully fit yet, and the news came out late yesterday that Adrian Sear unfortunately has chipped a bone in his ankle, so that's probably going to at least be another couple of weeks before he's back and fighting. So we've got an old tried and tested midfield partnership in there of George Short and Ben Edwards, the veteran combination in there, so it'll be interesting to see how they get on, neither of which have had a lot of game time recently. Ball's played into the box, not a convincing clearance there by Flanagan, and it's finally hooked away there by Carline up towards the halfway line, helped on its way by Salmons, and it's now through to Baker Richardson, but Guy Hollis has come across quickly, tried to clear the ball, and Scott Harris is getting involved with the right back there, Jones, and Jones plays the ball back, and it's not a well directed ball by Scar, who got sent off for he came in for a little bit of criticism from his manager McDonald in the week, because he got sent off last week, and the second booking in their 1-1 draw away at Hungerford was a bit unnecessary, it seems. So it'd be interesting to see what reaction he gets out of him today.
Yeah, he seems to be playing as one of a 4, isn't he? But he's not seemed to be marking anybody.
As the ball's forward,
he's onside.
He's right, left-hand edge of the box. He's going to have a opportunity. He passes it to. He has got a line. It's cleared away by Flanagan. But that should have been a goal for Slough. I think Ed was through one-on-one. Yeah. It bobbled just as he hit him, and out came the imposing figure.
He'll be disappointed with that, and the fact that he should have done better. Someone of his quality should maybe do a lot better with those one-on-one chances, and it's not the first time in the last few weeks where he hasn't put them away like he normally does. But it's a corner to the Rebels on this near-hand side, and Jake Parsons will take this. Waiting for some movement. He goes for the near post into the middle. It's going to come out to George Short. He's been blocked.
Ben Edwards picks it up. He passes it out right to Jake Parsons. Jake Parsons is going to chip this ball in. He's chipped it in, and Scott Harris needed to get something. He's clipped it over, and he's hit it over from a yard or two, almost a bicycle kick.
That's behind himself, wasn't it?
He should have scored with the first opportunity. He got in front. The keeper didn't come Hornby, and Scott Harris was there. He just needed to get something on it. It bounced up in the air, and he couldn't just hook it in.
No, it bounced off Hornby's foot. The ball just came through and hit him on the foot, and bounced up for Scott, and he was behind him. He's overhead kicked it, and he's just hit it over the 2 defenders on the line, but unfortunately for Slough, over the crossbar. But promising start, but their goal scorer, that is what happened last week at Chippenham. Slough should have got an early goal in the first 5-10 minutes, didn't, and ended up on the ring end of a 2-0 defeat.
And these chances just aren't falling. Slough have only scored 1 goal in their last 5, and that's a poor return by anyone's standards, and it's something that I know they need to address, and it just needs one of those to go. As Billy Jeffrey shouts, screams, and hits the ball forward. Slough having slightly the better of it on a difficult surface here in the Midlands, as Redditch just trying to get it under control, but that was a perfect example of where it's hard to control it. As Dinsley in the middle of the park just tried to take a touch, and it shot up in the air, didn't it?
Yeah, but the ball's come through to Baker Richardson, and a poor mistake by Billy Jeffries, and he's given the ball away to Spink. 25 yards out, he's looking for Ashley Salmons, the captain. He's got it back into Spink. Spink tries to go around past Jake Parsons, but Jake Parsons...
Salmons just having a touch there. He was a really influential player in that 7-1 victory. Both him and Hilton were...
Jermaine
Hilton, yeah, who got 2 goals, who's obviously now at Swindon in that 7-1. Redditch, one of the few teams to have scored 7 twice this season. Their record at home, I believe they beat Bideford 7-2.
The game after they beat Slough 7-1.
Yeah, and so... As Williams just gets a bit of a welcome there from the Redditch fans on that far side and the covering to his goal kick. It's an old school sort of welcome, and the game's 10 minutes old, no goals yet. Slough having had 2 clear chances to get on the score sheet, but Redditch looking dangerous when they're going forward.
Yeah, and the swap over in the team, Baker Richardson, the number 9 for Redditch, he's getting the balls knocked over the top for him as it's May on the ball on the far side, marked by Parsons. He's trying to get some help. Ball's crossed in, that's a great cross in, and Hollis has slipped and the ball's fallen to Baker Richardson. He's looking for some help.
Yeah, midway inside the Slough half, Spink picks it up, plays a crossfield ball all the way out to Jones. Jones, though, bet by Parsons, flicks the ball inside. Redditch doing well to keep it. Looked like a foul by Short, nothing given there, and then a second stronger tackle by Ben Edwards, which looked a weaker challenge, and he's given a foul against Ben Edwards for what looked like a soft challenge there on Dinsley.
Well, yeah, I mean, but like I say, he should have given a free kick for the first one, but Redditch, great ball into the box there, and Hollis slipped, and just unfortunately behind Baker Richardson.
Yeah, and Ade's got his own little score chart going on of fouls and all sorts of things, corners and all sorts. But we're waiting for the game to get back underway. Salmons, 25-30 yards from goal, right-hand edge of the pitch. Trisses it in towards the far post. It's bouncing around in the box. It's dangerous, but it's hooked away there by Tom Moran. Gets the toe out. It's going to be a Redditch throw, and George Short's appealing. I'm not sure what exactly he's appealing for in there. The Tallfies. The Redditch fans start to make a little bit of noise.
Yeah, they do. They huddled underneath that little bit of corrugated stand over there.
Looks like it's going to be a long throw. Jordan Jones coming all the way across to take it. There's not that many Redditch players forward. They're not committing.
Short throw to Salmons.
Salmons tries to take it around the corner.
He's hit Jake Parsons on the arm, but
Jake Parsons tries to clear it away. Fraser inside his own box needs to get rid of it. He does. It's up to Ed Smith on the halfway line. Up to Harris, and Harris helps the ball out the way to Fraser over the halfway line, advancing, ball at his feet, trying to get it under control on this bobbly surface. Just steps back, slips slightly. It looks like the top's dry, but it's just
that's a good ball over the top.
Around the corner, and well cut out there by McDonald in the direction of Flanagan now. He's going to help it on its way, but Ed Smith does well, closes the ball down, and there's the referee's just having another word with Spink.
That's his third. He went in there on Sean Fraser as Sean Fraser passed the ball out.
He needs to calm it down, doesn't he, really?
12 minutes in, he's committed 3 bad tackles. So the referee's just had a quiet word with him. That's the right thing to do at the moment.
I'm looking. Oh, there's my pad. I was just looking for my pad.
That's right. Flanagan to take the throw in on this near-hand side. Long throw, won by Carline. Up to Baker Richardson, back to Carline. Up for May. May locks it back to Richardson on this far hand side. He's got no cover. Fraser comes over to help out, but it's back to Dinsley. Dinsley surrounded by George Short. Out to Spink, but that's slightly behind him. Ben Edwards will chase that one.
I think Ben Edwards' is blood slightly up at the moment. He's just put a lot of chasing in there. Misplaced pass by Spink. Finds Jake Parsons. Tries an over-elaborate ball with the outside of his foot. Ryan Parsons comes in with a high challenge there on Jones on the far side. The end result is going to be a free kick to Redditch, just in front of the dugout, about 10 yards inside the Redditch half. Very tight to the touchline. And the manager on the far side, McDonald of the Liam variety.
Redditch are taking it quickly. Salmons to the right back, Jones. Comes out to Flanagan, the left back. Trying to play a good ball in for May, but Ryan Parsons deals with that one. But straight away it's Dinsley winning the ball back. But unfortunately May on the far side can't keep it in, and it's a throw in for Slough there. I think Ryan Parsons maybe been watching too many Hong Kong Fooey TV
he was having a little moment there, wasn't
he?
He kind of pulled out of it slowly. Everyone's looking a little bit cold and dejected. The game's just waiting for a spark. 14 minutes in. It's Slough goalless at the moment. Still yet to break that duck that they've had over the last couple of games.
Redditch fans singing some kind of weird song where they, a bit like row, row, row your boat kind of thing, but they'll just join in halfway through.
Did you say you're joining in?
No, definitely not. Hollis with the long throw, but the ball's won by May. Fraser tries to head it back to Luke Williams. It's not long enough. And Carline did well there to challenge Luke Williams.
And Luke came out strongly, and thankfully for him, the ball ended up at his feet as it bobbled around a little bit, and Carline was a little bit unlucky. And the Redditch fans on the far side just giving Luke a little bit of grief as he's bowled the ball out, and they're now giving him a shout. Shut down there by Baker Richardson, but he's clipped the ball up towards. They're clearly in beer, aren't they? I think some of the Redditch fans on the far side, and why not? It's If you live around here, what you probably want to drink, wouldn't you, really? As Slough trying to play the ball forward, George Short placed a Hollywood ball. It didn't go through. It was cut out, and Hornby has it safely in his arms.
Yeah, just slightly overhit there, and it looks like Jake Parsons got a free role in the team, popping up on the right hand and left hand side.
Yeah, I think what they are playing is a 4-4-2 with three tight in the middle of the pitch. As you can see, Tom Moran playing the holding of the three. And I think his job, if you look at him, it's almost like a man-to-man job on Salmons, who obviously caused a lot of problems for Slough back in the game at Holloway's early in the season. So Salmons is playing deep, and as you can see right now, Tom Moran is almost on a piece of string to Salmons. He's always within 5 yards of him. And it worked very well at Margate when they went to Margate, played a similar way, but they're playing a narrow four in the middle with Jake Parsons playing at the top of the four, almost of a diamond, Tom Moran at the bottom, and then Ben Edwards and George Short at it. As Ben Edwards is on the ball, tries to clip a difficult ball through to Harris, but it's easy meat for Redditch. We're going to come away with the ball. Salmons drives a long ball forward, but it's overhit. It's a bit agricultural, and it's all the way through to Williams, and the ball is really bouncing around off the surface out there, isn't it?
It is. It's rock hard out there, and the goalkeeper for Redditch, Sam Hornby, has a massive kick on him from that, and he is going slightly downhill, but he's causing a lot of trouble, those balls and the flick-ons, and Slough just got to be a bit more careful about winning that first ball.
There's some interesting... What's going on with the chanting as well?
What chanting? Yeah, some kind of song that Redditch fans sing. As Scott Harris flicks the ball up for Smith to chase, but that's out.
Yeah.
Throw-in for Redditch.
Well, he played 16 minutes. Slough have had him two good chances. Ed Smith should have... He was through one-on-one. He should have really... Tools in goal. Plays it to Fraser. Just inside the Redditch half. Chips it forward. Ed Smith's onside again. He's got round the back of
Scott. No, he's offside.
I didn't think he was there. I
thought he was onside, but the linesman
did disagreed, and I think Scar again that got lucky. He looks a little bit vulnerable in terms of position. There's a couple of times already in this first 20 minutes or so that Scar in the centre-back pairing has just got the wrong side of his man there, and that was what led to Ed's good chance.
And Salmons is having a bit of a battle there with Tom Moran. He's just pushed Tom Moran off, trying to get into the box as Flanagan plays a lovely ball in for Carline down the near-hand side, and it sits Billy Jeffries, and it's going to come out to Flanagan. He's got time to get it in. He's going to let it roll for a Redditch throw, but lovely play there by Redditch. Throw out to Spink. Spink looking, he's put the ball into the box, and Ryan Parsons gets a good shout there from Luke Williams, ducks out the way, and it'll be a goal kick for the Rebels.
So yeah, we've played nearly 18 minutes. There hasn't been too many chances. Both these sides, as I say, were a little bit lacking in form. They're sitting both lowly in the kind of form table at the moment. I think with only goal difference separating them at the moment. Redditch in their last 6 games have taken only 5 points and 15th, and Slough 1 place worth 16th in the form table. But Redditch have got one of the best defensive records there. They've got the 4th best defensive record in the whole division. So it's not as if they give away a lot of goals, but at the same time, considering they scored 14 goals in 2 games, they haven't scored a huge number of goals.
No, and a couple of their last games they've lost away from home 3-2. One was Cirencester, the other one was Truro. So 5 goals in those games. So they are liable to let a few goals in.
Yeah, and I mean they do have decent home form. You know, they are quite stingy. They've only conceded, I believe, it's 16 goals at home. So that's only averaging 1 a game.
Salmon's just got a bit more Tom Moran there, and Fraser's had to come across and do well to win the ball. That's the first time that Salmons has actually dodged Tom Moran. Ball's played up for Ed to chase, but that's over his head. Fraser knocks it into Jake Parsons. Jake Parsons turns well, plays the ball out. Great pass there to his brother Ryan. But there's a lack of midfield surgeons for Slough. But Jake Parsons has had to come and get it. He's flicks it on, and May does well to cover for Redditch. The ball's out, and it's a throw-in for the Rebels. But
I might need to blow my nose in a minute.
Okay, you go blow your nose. But Slough needs to get a little bit more help from the 3 centre midfielders and help out a little bit more, because as the ball's going forward, Smith and Hatchett are up against 4 players, and there's no one coming out on the to get that second ball as it's played in.
As once again, poor execution. They've been able to play a difficult ball through. It's all the way out on the far side, and it's just lacking that little bit of quality in the game so far.
And the Slough man over there he's standing on his own on that far hand side with his funny hat.
Yeah, I'm not sure who he is or why, but there's a lot of other Slough fans.
Yeah,
as you say, your flag's up there behind the goal.
Not much singing going on, unfortunately.
No, they've had a couple of chances as well to get it going. Gary House in the outfield as well, just sat on his.
Is he on the outfield?
In the outfield, as once again a breakdown of communication, but in midfield allows Slough to try and get something forward. And Bened he left something on Spink, and Spink's now rolling around as if he's been shot. And I don't think there should be anything done in that, because Spink's done 2 or 3 of those, and I think it'll be a little bit of a travesty if Ben Edwards ends up in the book, and then Spink's done 2 or 3 of those.
Sean Fraser's just gone on and said to the referee, look, you know, he caught me over there, and you didn't book him, so.
And the two fullbacks, Flanagan and Fraser, just having a little word about what's happening, and miraculously, it's Spink's making a reasonable recovery. I think he's just keeping one eye on the referee there, Mr. Clark.
Ben's just getting a bit of a chatting to from the referee, and that's all it is. No yellow card.
Exactly, and I think that's. For once, I think that's good officiating. You can praise the referee because he hasn't overreacted there, has he?
No, he hasn't.
And it would be easy, you know, when under a bit of pressure. And judging by his accent when I spoke to him earlier, he didn't. He sounded like he might have come from some of the Midlands, as opposed to being the way. Goal in the Poulton game. Apparently, Poulton are 1 up at Burnham.
They seem to be the form team at the moment, Poulton.
Yeah, they're absolutely flying at the moment. And Spink's just making his way. He's running off the pitch, so clearly not as seriously injured as perhaps he made out initially. If you do want to contact us at all, please do so at MyFC Rebels Radio or on the MyFC forum. We have played nearly halfway through this first half. It remains goalless. There's a free kick.
What's the Twitter thingy? MyFC?
At MyFC Rebels Radio.
That's the thing.
Or hashtag Rebels Away Days, maybe, as Guy Hollis puts an aerial ball in. That's the highest today. And Ed Smith's underneath it with...
Does well to get ahead to it.
With Flanagan. Once again, you can see this game getting competitive in the middle of midfield, can't you? As Flanagan and Fraser come to each other again, and the ball's won by Redditch, and Jones has it on the halfway line. He's going to be shut down by Jake Parsons, but he skips inside him nicely. Plays a simple ball off to Spink.
I mean, again, look, you're 100% right. Salmons has got the ball, and Tom Moran's there all the time.
And then another strong tackle coming in by Spink, and it's very competitive.
Fraser's out of position.
Fraser's well out of position, and it's gone through to Carline. Carline advances towards the box, pulls the right foot trigger, bounced up just a little bit awkwardly in front of Williams, but he did well to control it. But that was the first real chance on goal for Redditch. Came from Carline, cutting in from the right, edge of the D, unleashed a right foot shot. Didn't have too much power. Was aiming towards the far post, but safely in the arms of Williams, who then clears the ball long in the direction of Harris, but it's more of a rugby, and he's found touch on the far side. How was your burger before the game, Ade?
It wasn't bad, actually. It was quite nice.
Yeah.
The food, apparently, there's a lot of those Slough fans. We got here a little bit early, got here just after 1:30, and they're doing pucker pies and chips for about £3 in the snack bar, I think it was. So they were going down a treat with the Slough fans.
Redditch again
Flanagan
attacking.
plays the ball through.
Yeah, Carline going forward to try and cut it away from Fraser. Fraser does all right, deals with the ball. George
lovely
Short
play,
turns away
George.
nicely away from Spink. And then Spink's caught him again. He'll do very well.
He's
As Ed Smith played through,
he's one-on-one.
He's one-on-one. He cuts back and he's overrun it now. He's lost his momentum. He's played it straight into the feet of McDonald's. And Ed Smith clearly not playing with form at the moment. Back to Jake Parsons. Jake Parsons crosses the ball in. George Short goes for it, and he's hit. There's been a clash of heads, referee. There's been a clash of heads. George Short's a bit tries to play it forward, but Ed Smith once again was clean through there. The longer this play goes on, the less chance I think there is of Spink getting booked. And I think perhaps if the referee is worth anything at all, he will go back and book him. But Redditch are keeping the ball in at the moment. Long ball forward in the direction of May, and it's ricocheted back out. And Redditch getting players and ball forward.
Ben Edwards, brilliant play by Ben.
Edwards. Played it out to now Fraser. Just inside his own half, got grass ahead of him, so he's knocking it into the space. Being pursued in the end by Dinsley and Carline, and Carline's doing well, but Jake Parsons clips the ball down the line. It's asking a lot of Scott Harris. He's up against McDonald here, and there's a bit of shoulder barging in there. And I want to see if
is he going to come over? Number 8, ref?
No, the referee's now.
No, ref. You missed that tackle, then ref. That's all right. Don't worry about it.
It was interesting that he didn't even choose to have a word there, because Spink's put a few in, and he just left his foot in late there, and quite easily he could have come back to that.
Well, I mean, we're 25 minutes into the game, and that's 4 bad tackles that he's put in already, and the referee's not got his yellow card out.
And Billy did well. Hooked on its way by Ben Edwards. This isn't going to be the prettiest game of football. Headed away by Scar, and it's Flanagan now as Redditch looked to get the ball forward quickly and quite directly. Billy Jeffries once again having a solid first 20, plays it to George Short, and George Short did well to flick it away from Dinsley, but he's given the ball away, and now it's that man Spink who's been putting himself about a little bit over the first 20. Finds Salmon, and Salmon this time is a few yards away from Moran, but he's hasn't got much opportunity. George Short makes no nonsense, and what do you think of the Spink incidents and challenges?
I think if it had, some referees mostly would have booked him already. To be honest, I think the referees have been a little bit lenient. Persistent fouling is something that you can book a player for, and he's definitely done that with 4 bad ones. And good dummy there by Ed Smith, but seen by McDonald.
So it wasn't that good a dummy, I must admit, but it was. It's now up with Harris on the halfway line, takes a touch past McDonald, gets past him easily and gets clattered by McDonald, and that was quite a cynical. McDonald being quite a big unit, he's 6'6", and he's built like a brick outhouse, isn't he?
He definitely is.
As he's leading the line, the Redditch seem to be that kind of quite edgy, physical side that they play the game to its limits, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, and you just wonder if it might just kick off.
It might
some
boil
of the
over
challenges coming in.
And this will be interesting to see how Joe Clark keeps control of this, because it's simmering. Some games you think, hang on, there isn't much edge there, but this game is. As Parsons fires the ball in towards the far post, it's flicked away by Flanagan, and it's going to go behind for a corner. Yeah, and it is a corner.
It is a corner.
Referee's assistant on the near side. That's the second Slough corner, I understand.
Yep. I missed it off my list, don't worry.
That's all right.
I got it, don't worry.
It's okay. As we've played 26 minutes. It's goalless. Slough sending the big units forward, and Guy Hollis making his way, almost looking for a short one there. He could potentially do that. As
Jake with the corner on this near hand side.
Redditch only leaving May forward. And now Salmons takes up position at the box. Hollis stays back. It's clipped in towards the far post. It's once again Flanagan doing a lot of aerial work so far. Tom Moran trying to hold the ball up. He's should have probably let it run out. Just got clipped as he played the ball away. Back to Parsons on the halfway line. Flicks the ball forward. Ben Edwards tucks it down to George Short. Clips the ball over. There's no one there. It's going to be all the way through to Hornby.
Smith just ran into McDonald and fell to the floor as as if he'd run into a brick wall.
Well, it probably pretty much is. Fraser just got slightly underneath that, and bit of battling going on there with Carline.
Oh, referee!
And Carline was falling on his bottom and Fraser was trying to get round him, and now Salmons has stood over the free kick, left-hand edge of the penalty box, probably 10 yards outside of the box. It's going to look to be a cross. It's going to be put into that area of uncertainty, probably around penalty spot, would you say? Yeah,
that's where he needs to aim it through as McDonald goes up as well.
Williams has a 2-man wall.
Scar.
And he's put it in towards the far post. It's headed wide though, and it was the tall figure of Scar coming across as Ade predicted, but he couldn't keep his header on target. As we've played 27 minutes, it's been an eventful goalless first half so far.
Has indeed. A few challenges thrown in, some good chances for the Rebels. They're clear of the chances, and it's still 0-0.
You talked earlier of the ground, the Valley Stadium, and I understand that Redditch have also been having, similar to Slough, a number of years they've been having problems with their local council about the ground.
Wasn't it on the back page of the non-league paper that they were actually going to try and move and play at Hereford.
Yeah, that was thrown out this week in court as Hereford Fans Club has been granted a temporary reduced rate application to actually use that ground. As Ed Smith just having a little shout as the ball played for him. Looked like Hornby was going to just handle the ball outside the area. Ed having a little bit of a laugh and a joke. But so at one stage in the recent weeks it's looked but as if the chairman has perhaps to put a bit of pressure on Redditch Council
offside.
has put a bit
no, he's offside. Look at your linesman.
But
he's always got his flag up for you.
Okay, calm. It's all right. As Redditch the whole purpose of them moving to Hereford may have been because it would have been a 100-mile round trip. It was a bit like taking Wimbledon away from it. The league
threw it out because it was too far for fans to travel.
And the old Hereford club have spoken to Hereford Council. They've now got it, so they're still looking to get perhaps a 3G here or something because the surface is poor, and also it'd be good use for the community, as in Slough. But they've had a number of problems with this, and I think it reflects in the standard and the number of fans that they get down here.
It's a good site. I mean, especially that bit behind the goal that Slough defending, you could easily build a decent stand on there, and it's got some terrace on the other side. It's not a bad non-league ground, so they could maybe do a little bit of work here.
As we're closing on the half hour, it's still goalless. Slough having had the two better chances. A long throw by Hollis up the line doesn't find anyone in particular, and Jones will have the opportunity now for Redditch to get play back underway on the far side. How many people would you say there is? Perhaps 300? It's difficult.
I think that's a bit too much.
You
can't see how many people are down as the ball's played through for Carline up against Hollis. Hollis does well again.
Left-footed clearance all the way forward, and Ed Smith showing that he's not there, and then an awkward back pass from Scar, but Jake Parsons doesn't shut him down, so it's plenty of time for Hornby to...
he's wearing green boots today.
Green boots with a Skyman silver outfit. Left-footed clearance, chips it up the line in the direction of Carline. And it's actually Baker Richardson who...
But that seems to be a tactic of Redditch, is to put the ball onto Sean Fraser's head, as if they've identified him as a weakness down this side on headers.
Yeah, I mean, Sean didn't have his greatest game a couple of weeks ago, and perhaps they may have seen the video of that when he made a couple of mistakes, but he's certainly been strong this season. And once again, Flanagan, who's probably seen a lot of the ball in this first half hour, wins the ball, but it's won back by George Short, and he tries to flick it through in the direction of Ed Smith. It was more scoop through, and once again...
Ed had made the wrong run, hadn't he? He made a run expecting it somewhere else, and it didn't come to him as Hornby with another long kick.
And it's bouncing around off the surface, and taking a ride off George Short there was Baker Richardson. It was unbelievable, and then May just caught him, and Salmons then trips over theatrically, lying on the floor. It's all a bit childish, isn't it? Really. Excuse me. As Parsons fires it out to Ryan Parsons on the left wing, he's going to overlap. He's going to look for the ball back, but Ryan Parsons cuts inside, plays it short to Ben Edwards, who's great touch across, plays it across to George Short, and George Short tries to fire the ball through. It's bouncing around in the box. It's an awkward pitch for football, isn't it? It was.
That was a terrible touch by Ben. It just happened to be that the Redditch player didn't realise how bad it was going to be, and it fell to a Slough player, so it looked a lot better than it actually was. The ball's been rolled out to the portly figure of Flanagan, who's seen a lot of the ball and played quite well in this first half hour.
And Carline up against Fraser. It's very tenacious. There's a little bit of a lack of quality, and Carline goes to Florida.
Lovely play by Jake Parsons.
Carline's now upset about this, so let's just see if he calms himself down. He does. It's a short ball to Jones. Jones on the far side for Redditch. Upfield to Carline. Tries to help it on the way, but George Short's in there, and Salmons is there. It's turning into a fractious...
lovely tackle by Ben Edwards.
This is the sort of game that Ben Ed loves. He's flicked it out to Jake Parsons. He's taken a touch. He steps around Carline. He's going to play it out to Fraser. Fraser now with 20 yards of space if he can keep the ball in, and it's bouncing around. It does well on the second or third touch to do that. It wasn't the most aesthetic of...
Slough only got 2 men up. They need some midfield help.
Peter Harris, and it's ricocheted well through to Ed Smith. He's on the edge of the box. He's trying to pass it to Harris. It's all tight and congested in there, and Redditch clear. Ben Edwards again cuts it out, and now Moran up against Salmon, and Moran does well. Fraser back to Moran. It's all tight. It's all 100 miles an hour out there at the moment, isn't it? Ed Smith flicks it onto Scott Harris, 30 yards from goal, back to goal.
Good play.
Does well. Slough just asking a few more questions, I would say, of Redditch at the moment.
But again, there's only 3 forwards for Slough. It's Smith, Harris, and then Ryan Parsons, and one of the 3 midfielders are all standing literally just by the half centre circle. One of them's got to get forwards and give some help out.
As Tom Moran has it in the middle of the pitch, he steps away nicely, plays a horrible ball into Jake Parsons, who loses the ball now, and it's going to be Redditch coming away with it with Spink on the ball. Plays the ball in towards the
superb change, Guy Hollis.
And Guy Hollis going forward plays a diagonal ball in the direction of Ed Smith. The 2 Redditch players collide, and Jones just does enough to get it away to May. Redditch still trying to clear it, but Ed Smith closes it down well and it's spun, but I think it's going to go out for a goal kick. It does go out for a goal kick, rather theatrically.
But Slough have really got to give some more help to the front two, because a lot of the time it's Jake Parsons playing the ball in, and his only option is Smith and Harris up front, and the three centre midfielders. Obviously Moran's doing that holding role, washing Salmons wherever he goes. He's with him now, and if he goes into the toilet at half time, I hope he goes into the right dressing room, because he's for one of George Short or Ben Edwards has got to come forwards and help.
Yeah, and I think they are on
Carline's flicked it on for Baker Richardson just on the edge of the area. He's looking to get an angle. He's going to shoot. He shoots well, and it's a goal. And Luke Williams is at fault there, and it's going to be Carline with the goal on 33 minutes.
Yeah. So it's Redditch 1, Slough Town 0, and it was a shot from the edge of the box that then it bobbled awkwardly just in front of Luke Williams. It ricocheted off him. He couldn't direct it away from goal. It ricocheted back up off him, and then Carline was there to poach and put it away. Yeah,
it kind of bobbled and hit Luke Williams, and he maybe should have done better with that. But the Slough defence have got to be a little bit quicker. I think it was Carline who was quicker to the ball, and
I think it was a bit awkward, a bit harsh on Williams, wasn't it? Because it bounced right in front of him. But as you say, it was just that shot from Baker Richardson, and it flares off on the far side. It's red from Redditch, as that'll put their tails up. It'll be interesting to see how Slough react. And immediately the ball's played forward, and Baker Richards is after this, and Guy Hollis has to be on his toes to defend this. And he's just got the ball out and won the throw on the far side. But that goal kind of coming a little bit against the run of play.
Yeah, slightly against the run of play. Slough had the actual better of the opportunities, but that just goes to show you the difference. When you've got a little bit of confidence, do you put the ball away like that? And Slough haven't done that with the opportunities they've had.
Yeah, please give us feedback on the audio quality out here today as well. We're trying the microphones out. It's a little bit windy and things like that, but it's a very fractious game. If you're just joining us, Slough have just gone behind to a 33rd minute goal from Carline, and Hollis once again. Spink left a little bit in there on Hollis as the ball's ricocheted through, and Flanagan's playing a ball forward. It's in the direct. Redditch asking questions of Slough. Salmon's now on the ball. He's trying to get away from his man marker, and he's round the far post. He's going to cross the ball in. Well cut out by George Short, and Salmon's is asking a few more questions.
Yeah, he's getting a little bit of freedom there. He got away from Tom Moran, and he was there for the 1-2 and get the ball in, but Slough cleared it well with George Short, but it's a throw on the far side to Redditch. Jones with the ball, out to Dinsley. Dinsley back to Jones. He's got time to get across in here. Hits that one way too deep, and that's out, and that's going to be a goal kick to the Rebels. But the Rebels be disappointed with the fact that they didn't react quick enough to that shot being parried. And
Billy Jeffries was slightly on his heels, wasn't he?
Yeah, one of the centre midfielders got to do. Defenders got to do better.
I think Luke will put his hand up and say that was probably his first real mistake in the Slough goal as such. I mean, he's had a few little scare-em juggles and things with his feet, but that they haven't cost anything. That was the first one that's actually cost something.
Dinsley's just won the ball. It's up to Baker Richardson, out to Spink, and he's done it again. He's just caught Ben Edwards, and again the referee hasn't seen it.
As Slough trying to play complicated balls, they're not just doing simple things. As Ed Smith's working quite hard in front of the Slough dugout there on the far side, plays it to Ryan Parsons. Ryan Parsons up the line to Harris, but Slough struggling to get forward. And once again, Spink's making a nuisance of himself in midfield. McDonald at the back to Flanagan. Redditch trying to clear the ball, and they're playing a real direct style, aren't they? Yeah. Getting the ball forward very quickly.
Like I say, they do seem to be targeting Sean Fraser as the outlet.
Yeah, they perhaps fancy Carline against him, but
Carline's a taller player than Sean Fraser, and they seem to be playing with a 4-3-3, don't they? So
yeah, they seem very flexible in the front five also as the ball's played forward, and McDonald's just happy to watch that one out. Let the ball run. He's close to us right now, and he is a big man, isn't he?
Yeah, he's got a little bit of weight around his midriff, hasn't he? So
I wouldn't say around his midriff. I would say across his whole body. He looks a solid unit, I would say. As the Redditch fans are just happy. I believe, Mick, it may well be called as the 34th minute. I think it was 33.5, which in football parlance, that was a horrible tackle.
Look at Salmons, he's gone mental.
That was a horrible tackle by Billy Jeffries, and I wouldn't be at all surprised if he gets sent off. He went over the ball, he put his foot down the shin of the player, and Carline is writhing around in agony, and Salmons is disgusted by it. The trainer's come on. This is a key moment in the game potentially for the Rebels. This is a first big test of Park.
Waved the physio on very quickly there.
It may have looked worse than it was, but he certainly went high. You know, if you saw that on Match of the Day, you'd hear them calling for a red card for that. It looked a bad tackle, and George Short's just trying to get Flanagan away and trying to get Salmons away from it because he's trying to get him in trouble. But I think he's going to be a lucky boy here. I think Jeffries is going to be a lucky boy. He's getting it written down. The length of time it's taken him to talk about it, I don't think this is a sending off. So Jeffries,
he hasn't gone for a card yet. He's
it's going to be yellow.
Taking his telephone number.
It's going to be yellow. It's absolutely going to be yellow.
He doesn't know which pocket he's got his cards in, does he?
It is a
yellow card, and
I think,
like you say, Billy Jeffries is going to be very grateful for that.
Yeah, and I think from we had a fantastic vantage point. We were no more than 20 yards away from it or so.
Right in front of us, really.
It was a horror tackle, wasn't it? You wouldn't want anything. You know, that doesn't really have its place in football. And Carline's still down.
McDonald's just is coming across and said to Billy Jeffries, he's just said something, and he wants that ball put right where Billy Jeffries is, because I think he's going to give him a good clattering. And that ball comes in. I think he might do, and I certainly wouldn't want to meet him down a dark alley, would you? As if you're joining us late, it's 39 minutes played. Redditch leading 1-0, and it's Carline, the goal scorer, who's just receiving treatment. He's back up on his feet. He's just making his way off. It's quite funny that Spink's in there giving it all to the referee, and he's committed 5 or 6 fouls that, in theory, he should at least got a yellow card for one.
And you can still see he's chirping away at Ben Edwards, and Ben Edwards is having a little bit of a bite at him. Sean Fraser coming out. Salmons is going to take the resulting free kick. It's going to be on the left-hand side, slid into the box, and it's gone through everybody. And someone thought it was a goal because they were shouting yes, and it bounced through. It just needed a touch. William picked it up, quick clearance forward, and it's in the direction of the Slough dugout on the far side. And Jones comes through. Harris just left a little bit of a foot on it, and I think the temperature's just risen a kind of a degree or two in this.
Carline's back on the pitch. He seems fine. He's just shaking it off. So maybe he looked a little bit worse than it was.
Yeah. So sorry, actually, I think Paul, you may well have won golden goal. I think it may have been 34 minutes, so you may have won it today. We'll have to wait and see. But I think it was around
33 and 46 seconds,
which makes it the 34th minute. So yes. So it is. So yeah, I think Paul, you might have won. Hooray! Good for you if you're listening in your shop wherever you are today. As the ball's just played forward again long, Hollis under pressure heads it across to Jeffries, who's lucky to be on the pitch. He gets knocked off it by Baker Richardson, and Richardson tries on
and a 4 against 2.
As it's ricocheted off Richardson, and Hollis doing a sterling job at the back in that far corner to win that goal kick. But once again, it was Redditch piling bodies forward, and Slough
Slough just not looking where they were too far back, and Redditch had 3 in the box there. As the Redditch fans go through their repertoire of songs. Yeah, and as Ed Smith just nicks it off Jones and then just get caught, and Ed Smith's now rolling around on the floor in front of the Slough dugout, and Super Kev, this would be one of his shortest journeys of the year. He's got about a yard or 2, I would say. And that's a long distance for Kev. Kev could probably blow him sorry, that sounds wrong. could anyway, I think we should probably just move on. Dobbo's just gone to warm out. Slough having limited options on the bench today, with Rhys Short travelling and then being unwell. As we go into the final 5 minutes of the first half, Parsons, the referee just having a word with Jones, which seemed odd. That was Jones's first challenge, and it wasn't really that. No, it wasn't. And then Spinks getting away with murder almost, and not actual murder. Ryan Parsons, left-footed, plays the ball in towards the other box, helped on its way by George Short, but it's up in the air. McDonald wins it, heads away. Now Salmons is going to just scoop in there ahead of Fraser, but Hollis, who's been solid in this first half at the back, plays it forward. But there's plenty of players forward. Now Salmons up against Tom Moran. Salmons looks to be getting into the game more, finding a little bit more space. Spinks just jumped there into Ryan Parsons. And he's done well over there. He's won the throw on the far side. Yeah, quick throw being taken. No, Redditch just going to slow it down a bit. Jones is going over to take this right back. He's looking for some movement in. Throws it to May. May being marked by Jake Parsons. Gives it back to Jones. Jones is coming down the byline, gets a cross in. And Baker Richardson out-jumps Guy Hollis, but the ball's been cleared, but only as far as Flanagan. Who seems quite cultured. He seems to get through his work quite well, does Flanagan. He does the stuff simple, and that's what football's all about. And it's all the way forward to Baker Richardson. Now Spink in the middle of midfield. Is anyone going to put one on him? No. As Jake Parsons comes away from the ball. As he passes it, you're going to get caught? No, he's skipped away from Spink in the midfield and found a lot of players, but only 4 or 5 Slough bodies once again forward. And ball over the top. That's good. But again, only Scott Harris is in the middle. And a heavy touch by Ed Smith. And then Ed's going to get it. And then he drags on Jones. And Jones is now rolling around. He's rolled off the pitch, though, so at least they can get on with it. Yeah, I mean, now he's rolled back on. He rolled on. I know there's a slope on the pitch, but that's having a laugh.
He rolled off the pitch in the goal line, and now he's rolled back on. He looks to be in some sort of distress.
No, he's sitting up now, so he's fine. Don't worry.
And Ed Smith just getting a bit frustrated. You could sense.
Lucky though, that could have been a yellow card.
As one of the Redditch subs just gets warmed up, and the Slough joint management team just trying to get their team motivated, trying to get people going on the far side.
I just wonder if they make a change at half time and being a goal down, try and get a little bit of width in the game with James Dobson or Gockman and just try and get some space. There's nothing down the width at all for the Rebels at the moment.
No, they are playing a very narrow shape and then looking to break with a bit more width when they go forward. And a number of the Redditch players just gone away to the right hand side where Jones is getting treated just to have a drink, but the referee stood over there, Joe Clark, who's hasn't really got that much wrong in the first half. He may have potentially have booked Spink for kind of persistent fouling. He's done 3 or 4 that perhaps he could have.
He could have maybe sent off Billy Jeffries as well.
Yeah, and sent off Billy Jeffries. But from a Slough perspective, I don't think they'll be too perturbed by that. As we're in the final minute of the first 45,
it's going to be a fair bit added on.
I think there's probably going to be at least 3 or 4 minutes added on, if not a bit more. It's getting chilly up here. The grey clouds are just kind of hanging around. They're not moving over too fast. As Jones still continues to get treatment away on the right hand side. He's rolled on the pitch. If he'd have rolled off the pitch, we could be playing now.
Yep,
couldn't we? But and when he's so close, you've got to wonder why can't the referee just say to him, just go and get your treatment off the pitch. Let's get on with it. If you're really injured, that's an actual distraction from
we have already had an air ambulance turn up in the field opposite. There was a rugby match going on, and air ambulance turned up, but thankfully wasn't needed.
I think Neil Baker's just getting a few chants about his weight over there, as he's been just making some comments, and
another long kick by Hornby,
and it's ricocheted through, and Hollis has helped it on its way, but it's helped forward by Spink, and now Baker Richardson reacts faster, and he's jumped into Fraser there, and he just left again a little bit on him. It's all quite competitive, as it's helped on its way out to this left hand channel. It's back with now Flanagan, who's going to look to get the ball into the box.
Just pushed Tom Moran there.
Clip forward, headed away by Hollis in there, and now it's going to be Ryan Parsons to chip the ball up the line, but he sliced it. It's into the far dugout. Slough, I think, could be doing well to get into the shed at 1-0 down, and then rebuild from there, because they certainly aren't winning as many of the 50-50 battles as they were during the first 10 or 15 minutes.
Redditch, like you say, quite direct, and the ball's being played up, and it's number 9 Baker Richardson that's winning every single ball, and Slough just aren't realising it.
As Jones makes his way back onto the pitch now on the halfway line. You
just wonder maybe if Reece York had been playing, whether they would have got as much joy from that kind of tactic as they had this start.
Yeah, exactly. And Ed Smith just used his body there, and that's a really soft free kick to give, and Spink kick to get things. And Ed Smith getting called. Suggested that he plays with himself at home, I think, of a night. Or
anywhere else that he likes to do it.
Anywhere else. As the ball's in with the goal scorer Carline and Billy Jeffries, who's got to watch himself in there. Carline's 1-2. It's Salmons, edge of the box, left-footed curler, but it's over and wide. The three stewards have to do something for the first time in this first half, as we are in the 47th minute. It is Redditch 1, Slough 0. Carline the goal scorer in the 34th minute, after Williams couldn't hold a snapshot from Baker Richardson, and it bobbled out horribly, and Slough were not quite at the races, so it's poked and almost looped in to the far right hand post by Carline, and the Rebels look to be trailing, and they still haven't threatened the scorers. They had 2 good chances again within the first 15 minutes.
First 10 minutes, and then since then they've not really created a lot of chances. It's all been Redditch with the better opportunities, whether they're half chances or clear cut.
Exciting game at Chesham this afternoon. Chesham 2, Weymouth 2. So Weymouth up near the top of the division.
Dunstable at home. They must be about 4 or 5-0 down by now, surely.
Well, they're normally in terms of
two games, 8 goals in each game, wasn't it? The last 2 at home.
And the Redditch fans again making some
ball's
noise.
Thrown in, and George Short has a chance to clear it, but Jones for Redditch, first one back, but Short gets it back, and the referee blows for half time, and that is the end of the first half, and it is Redditch United 1, Slough Town 0. Goal scorer is George Carline, on the 34th minute, and the Slough fans very quiet, and not a lot for them to shout about.
No, we'll come back to you. We spoke to Neil Baker earlier in the week, so you can have a listen to him as the players make their way off down in front of us. We'll just keep an eye out. John and I, we're just having a little word with the referee as they come off, but we'll just have a little work. So I'll just show Ade, but we'll greet you all, and we'll speak to you all in the second half. Hello and welcome to Rebels Radio latest interview. I'm joined by Slough Joint Manager Neil Baker. How are you, Neil?
Very well, John. Yourself?
Yeah, not bad at all. So what are your thoughts a few days on reflecting back on the defeat at Chippenham at the weekend?
I think we're still disappointed with the result. Not too disappointed with our first half performance, but I think it was our second half performance, and more so when they scored their goal. I don't think we sort of created enough. I don't think we showed enough fight to actually go and get ourselves back into the game, which was a little bit disappointing, to be honest. The game itself was very, very tight. There wasn't an awful lot in it between both sides.
Wasn't the greatest football game ever?
No, it wasn't a good football game. The pitch, wasn't great. Obviously, it's a big slope. There was strong wind, which favoured us in the first half, and we didn't take advantage of it. And obviously favoured them second half, and they did take advantage of it.
Are you concerned at the fact of the recent kind of dry spell in front of goal?
Well, you're always, that's always a concern, because we're used to scoring goals, but sometimes players go through these, little spells, and unfortunately, we've just got a few that are going through that at the moment. But
and the front two or three have contributed a lot of goals this season. Are you concerned that other areas aren't kind of perhaps coming up with their share?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, to be honest, you look at Eddie and Scott's goal return this season, bearing in mind they've stepped up a level, I think it's actually more than good enough. Johnny hasn't scored as many goals, but he's probably not played quite as much this season. I think, down to form and a few other little bits as well. So we're not too disappointed with the front boys. I'd say that we haven't had like a Warren Harris chipping in with 18, 20 goals like he did last season. Jake's come in and done brilliant. But Jake and Warren are very different players. I have to say, I think Jake's been absolutely superb in recent weeks, and he's really sort of, I think, played himself into our future plans and stuff like that as well. I think he's got so much ability, but he is a completely different player to Warren Harris and a Darren Wheeler. He's one that will, he's got great feet and stuff, but he's not somebody that will necessarily drive into the box and shoot from sort of all angles and whatever else. And we probably haven't had that so much. I think Dobbo had it early on in the season, but Dobbo's obviously gone through a tough spell since his injury. He hasn't quite regained his form from early on in the season, other than the front boys, we haven't really had anyone sort of scoring goals. Jamie McClurg's missed the last 3 months, he's a miss for us, and I think it's been a frustrating season. If I'm brutally honest, myself and John were talking about it in the car on the way to training last night. I think one of the things that we've been used to is having a real good squad of players in terms of everyone really together, and I think it's been a little bit because of the players missing and not playing, and they're big characters, and they've probably been missed in the changing room, and it affects other people. I'd say somebody like Guy, for example. I think sometimes with Guy, he with somebody like Adam Fowler and Jamie McClurg in the side, he sort of bounces off them a bit, and I think you actually get more out of someone like Guy.
And a lot of different faces and a lot of new personalities come and go.
Absolutely, and that that is something that we haven't necessarily been used to, and it's not because we necessarily wanted to make loads and loads of changes. It's come out of necessity, because of the various injuries that we've had all season, and unfortunately that means we have to bring other players in to sort of get us through it. So it has been a frustrating season, I think, but at the same time we have to look at where we've come. We finished 5th last season, managed to get promotion, and we've come into this season countless players missing, at various times, and we've still held our own, and yes, we've lacked consistency, but the teams that have consistency are the teams that win the league or get in the playoffs, and I don't think we're quite there yet. And
a lot of lessons learned.
A lot of lessons learned, and we're not. I think myself and John are very bullish. We're always bullish. We always say we get. We want to do this, and we set our expectations high. That will never change because we're winners. We want to win games of football. But I think we have realised that we don't have any divine right to go and challenge for a title or the playoffs or anything like that. Yeah, we'll have a real good go, and we'll do that. But we just need to see progression year on year. And obviously, with the ground and things like that, that's going to happen. Hopefully, that will, change things for the club. Whilst we're ground sharing at Beaconsfield, it's very, very difficult for the club to compete with some of the sides that we're up against. You look like a Weymouth, a Truro. They're big clubs with their own grounds, with their own finances coming in, and we're having to try and compete with those guys, and it's not necessarily that easy. So, we've had a good season in terms of we've learnt a hell of a lot. I think myself and John have learnt a lot about ourselves. I think there's a few things that we've mentioned in the last week that we need to sort of do next season, and even now, and we'll be doing that. So we're learning. The lads are learning, and hopefully come next season we'll be in a better position, and we'll look to improve on this season.
Okay, thank you for that summary. Back to the here and now.
Yes. Sorry, I went on a little bit there, didn't I?
You went a little bit off on one. You were enjoying yourself though, so we'll leave it.
Yeah.
Back to the here and now. Obviously, a tough game on Saturday. What's been happening this week? Any players out having games, or how's training been?
No. We've Dobbo had a second game for Tame on Tuesday. He's the only one that sort of played. Gurkhan was going to get another 90 minutes, but the game was called off, unfortunately. Other than that, we trained last night. Very, very good session last night. Very competitive, and it was quite an enjoyable session to be involved in last night. And yeah, I mean, we're in a position come Saturday. We're without Adam Martin. Adam starts a 3-game suspension, which is obviously a loss to us. We would more than likely be without Dan Brown, who will be back at Wildstone. Fortunately we'll have Ben Edwards back into the fold, and we'll be looking, to potentially bring George back into the fold as well. Liam Malone, we're not sure because he's been on holiday, friend's wedding. We're not quite sure whether he'll be back in time for Saturday. And we also miss Johnny Dyer. Johnny Dyer's away this weekend, so we're going there with sort of 15, but it's still a strong 15. So we're going to Redditch, and we're going to have a real good go.
And look for I'll put my teeth in. Look for a performance after earlier in the season. Obviously, when there was a disappointing home defeat, Redditch were absolutely on song that day and on fire. And obviously, some of those players now are no longer with them. They've gone on to bigger things, bigger and brighter things. But what are you looking forward to on Saturday?
Just looking forward to trying to put in a performance. Really, I don't. The 7-1 game was, obviously one that I wasn't there that day.
Oh, it wasn't my fault.
Wasn't my fault. But no, I mean, we saw Redditch early on in the season, and they're a good side, and everyone we've spoken to said they're a good side, and we know it would be difficult come Saturday, but I just want us to go and give a good account of ourselves, because I think on the day I don't think we did. I'm sure the lads will want them to be, will want to, put on a performance whereby they sort of regain a bit of what they lost that day, because, nobody likes to get beat 7-1 in football, and I'm sure there'll be a few that want to, right that wrong, should we say.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much for your time. Any other points you want to raise?
No, nothing major. I mean, we've got a couple of 7-day approaches in, which we've put in. One where we have spoken to the guy. We've got permission from the club to speak to him, and he's agreed to sign after this weekend, and we'll make that sort of public knowledge. The other player is from a team in our league that we haven't spoken to. We'll be talking to on Monday. We'll wait and see on that. It's one of those where you just don't know what the players looking for, and we'll see what we can come up with. But you know, we're looking to try and improve us, and you know, keep sort of making one or two little tweaks if we feel we need to. So
just tinkering with the squad still as you're learning and developing.
I think now is a good time to do it, you know, because you know, if you're going to have a look at one or two players, now is the time, because you know they're still playing Southern Premier football, but there may not be quite the pressure on, you know, that it might be at the start of the season, and also it's better to look at some of these players now than in pre-season games where it doesn't mean a lot. How
do you keep the players motivated and the dressing room lively in a situation where, you know, for some people it may just be that the season could, you know, fizzle out? Many of the Slough fans will be happy first season back in the Southern Premier. Mid-table is likely to be the finishing sort of position. Relegation isn't really an option, but neither is playoff football. What do you say to the players?
Well, you know, the only thing we can say is you know, you're playing for your futures. You know, we're not going to accept people that just sort of.
Welcome back to the Valley at Redditch, where Redditch lead this Southern Premier League match 1-0 at half-time. The goal scorer was Carline in the 34th minute, which I think will please Paul in MyFC land. Slough having two good early chances, with both Ed Smith and Scott Harris both having gone close. The Slough Rebels team in their purple shirts in the right-hand half are out on the pitch waiting. It's a cool, clear day here at Redditch. There's a few kind of clouds around. The wind's getting up a little bit, but we'll take you through the two teams. Redditch, number 1, Sam Hornby. 2, Jordan Jones. 3, Callum Flanagan. 4, Calvin Dinsley. 5, Daniel Scarr. 6, Clayton McDonald. 7, Simeon May. 8, Liam Spink. 9, Luke Shearer. 10, Ashley Salmons, and 11, George Carline. Actually, sorry, 9 is not Luke Shearer. He failed a late fitness test, and Courtney Baker Richardson is wearing number 9. And on the bench is 12, Joe Keynes, 15, Lee Phillips, 16, Dior Agnes, and 17, Jamie Molyneux. And the referee, Joe Clark, he had a difficult decision to make after about 15 to 20 minutes. He could have sent off Billy Jeffries for what looked like a nasty challenge on Carline. It was probably actually a little bit later than that, maybe 35-40 minutes. His assistants, Richard Cattell and Joel Richardson. The Slough team, quite a lot of change. Rhys York unfortunately fell unwell on the journey up here, so he didn't make the starting 11. The starting 11 was 1, Luke Williams, 2, Sean Fraser, 3, and captain Ryan Parsons, 4, Guy Hollis, 5, Billy Jeffries, 6, Ben Edwards, 7, Tom Moran, 8, George Short, 9, Scott Harris, 10, Ed Smith, 11, Jake Parsons. And on the bench, 12, Adam Fowler, although I don't think he'll be used, 14, James Dobson, and 15, Gurkham Gockman, who hopefully may have another. Ade's just been to rescue some biscuits.
I couldn't get any pasta, they've just taken the pasta away. So.
But we got some biscuits. Slough will be shooting from right to left, down the hill slightly in this first half. It's been quite a bitty, tetchy affair, hasn't it, really, in there?
Yep. Did you mention the attendance?
No, I haven't. The attendance 327.
Right in the middle, look.
So I was quite close with saying it was going to be about 300, wasn't I? So you said it was difficult to tell. As the ball's fired forward from Redditch, and it's in the Slough left-hand channel, and immediately May's trying to get it forward. Guy Hollis is shoving him off the ball. Jones is supporting and will try and get the ball into the box. He helps it back to Spink. Spink plays it to the box. It's Salmons tries to get it under control, trying to run around Tom Moran. He grabbed at Tom Moran quite a lot and pulled him back, and it's still dangerously in the Slough box. It's across Spink in the middle of the goal. It's a free. And it's the second goal there from Carline on the far side. Within the first minute, within 30 seconds of the restart, it looked like Tom Moran got pulled back there as the ball was in the box. But the ball went all the way across goal. Carline was in acres of space on 7 or 8 yards out, and he fired the ball low. Williams couldn't keep it out, but Slough have doubled their deficit, and it's the worst possible start to this second half.
Yeah, and again, it's the fact that they've got no width down the side. The ball's played into May.
Internet football community, MyFootballClub.co.
Everyone else is helping him out. Gets the time to get the ball in the box. Slough didn't defend, but Slough would be maybe contesting the fact that Tom Moran was pulled back in the box, and there was a clear handball by the number 11 Carline as the ball was played in. But not a good start for Slough, and a bit of a pointless having a team talk, really, isn't it? Is your biscuit nice? You eat the biscuit, I'll carry on. So Redditch straight away on the attack. The ball's with Jones, the right back. Little mistake, but it's Ryan Parsons again chasing, and who's covering for him? No one. Ball's played across the top, and that's out of play. Throw in for Slough, and Slough can relax in the fact that they've now got a minute without conceding. And they just do look very dejected. as someone was shouting some encouragement. Harris with the flick on, but Flanagan, the left back, wins the ball. Carline's up against Fraser, leans in on him, gets away with it. Ball's out to Salmons, closed down by Tom Moran, shadow. Ball's back to Flanagan, to Dinsley, closed down by both Jake Parsons and George Short, but Flanagan's got the ball back. And Fraser wins the ball, but loses the ball again, and this time Baker Richardson holds it up. And it's Redditch, all football for them. Slough on the back foot yet again, but poor ball forwards. Sean Fraser with the chance to clear it, fails to do so. Carline beats him with it. He's looking for a... And Ryan Parsons, no, Baker Richardson scored the goal.
Oh, was it Baker Richardson who scored the goal?
Yep. And then Flanagan kicks the ball out, and Slough can have a respite. And obviously, whatever Redditch put in their pasture at half time has worked for Redditch, because they've come out of the box on all fire on all cylinders, and Slough have just been shell-shocked.
Yeah, and both the Slough joint managers on the far side stood hands in pockets. They look a little bit dejected. They were just trying to wind up and rally the troops. Some of the Redditch army on that far side haven't quite got back with their points yet. They may have missed that goal. It's such as it was so early, and Williams has got a horrible problem there. And
he's done it again. He did this at Chippenham last time. Goes to kick the ball's bobbled. He's taken his eye off it, booting up in the air, and this time Slough get it clear. But
so 3 minutes into the second half, it is Redditch 2, Slough 0. Baker Richardson doubling the Redditch lead in the 46th minute, and it was a poor defending, you'd say, by Slough, not quite picking up.
Did you go through the half times?
No, I haven't taken them through the half times as yet.
Ball's on the far hand side. Slough clear it up, but McDonald is the player that wins that one. Moran up against Salmons, and Salmons holds him off well. Wins a free kick off Tom Moran, and
yeah, do you want to go through the half times?
Yeah, I just saw that Chesham have gone 3-2 up. What we've got Arsley nil, Banbury 2, Biggleswade 1, Corby 1, Burnham were 1-0 down, but we haven't got a confirmed score there. Chesham,
I think Burnham were 2-0 down actually against
2-0 down. Chesham are now 3-2 up. Chippenham 1, Hitchin 1. Didn't get a half time from Cirencester Truro. We've got Dorchester 1, Histon 0. As Salmons takes the free kick in, and McDonald scores again. No, he's given a foul. McDonald was leaning over Billy Jeffries, climbed on his back,
hanging on to him.
And
why on earth is he?
Why is he standing there?
It's a free kick. It's a free kick. So I don't really understand.
I don't understand what Baker Richardson's doing.
Perhaps he didn't really understand, or perhaps he just thought if he puts it down, I'm going to go nick it off him. But the game's gone up a few degrees here. It's a long clearance by Williams. It's wind assisted, but well won at the back by McDonald. And now Billy Jeffries having to retreat, passes it back to Luke Williams, who takes a good touch first time. Now pokes the ball out to the right hand side to Jake Parsons, but well won there by Flanagan. And now Carline's on his feet, and Williams is going to have to scamper from his goal and blast the ball out the box and out the ground into someone's into the tree.
It's stuck in the tree.
Stuck in the tree opposite.
Yeah.
Did you finish going through all the half
No. The Dorchester 1, Histon 0, Dunstable 0, Froome 2, Hungerford 1, Bideford 0, Pooltown 0, St Neots 0, and now it's obviously Redditch 2, Slough 0.
I think Biggleswade have taken the lead against Corby. So
did it just come through?
Yeah, Daniel goal special. So I'm guessing.
Ball's played forward. Scott Harris supposedly commits a foul,
and it was interesting to see that as that free kick was given to Redditch, Scar was actually appealing. So it looked as if he was appealing to say, "Oh, hang on, I didn't do anything wrong there, ref." So
Froome, 2-0 for them. Yeah, as Carline wins the ball, Flanagan kicks it ball forwards, and Billy Jeffries heads it aimlessly, gets the rebounds, falls to Jake Parsons. Jake Parsons, best player for Slough on the pitch at the moment, but he's closed down by 3 players and loses the ball. And ball's played out to the right back, Jones. He's got plenty of time to stop this and bring it forwards. Closed down by Ben Edwards. Does a sensible ball to Spink. Spink plays the ball forwards. And again they're targeting Fraser. Fraser up against Carline. Carline does well, but throwing for Slough.
I can't hear you. I don't know what's going on. Yeah, just keep trying. No, look, your mic's fading.
My mic's slow.
Oh, there you go. It's working again. Yeah, we're okay.
And the discussion was that of the 6 fouls that Redditch had committed in the first half, all were committed by the number 8, Liam Spink, without getting the yellow card. As Redditch come forwards over the ball with that man Spink out to May. May up against Ryan Parsons. Played it inside, but Tom Moran does well. But the ball's played forward, and again the massive gap. As a poor clearance
It's
by
not even gone
Scout,
out,
still
it's not gone
in the
out.
pitch.
Oh,
It's
just
gone out. But as the ball was played forward, there's only Smith and Harris up front. And the ball's played in for Harris. He's been muscled off the ball by McDonald.
It's you're just not going to get round him, are you? He's as wide as he is tall, and he's a big physical specimen. John and Ade runs to get the ball on the far side, but Scott Harris and Ed Smith, you've got to feel for them a bit up there. They're getting very limited support, aren't they?
Very limited service and support. The ball's just not coming into them this much.
Referee just making sure the throw-in's taken from the right place as the ball's back underway. It's bouncing around. Redditch will be happy with this as Ben Edwards now 30 yards from goal just runs over the ball a bit and spinks out his back at all, just kicking and chipping a bit. I mean, just being a little pain in Ben's ear as he's now in the referee's ear as Slough struggling to keep possession of the ball in this bobbly surface. It's all the way back to Jeffries, clips a long ball forward. That should be meat and drink for Flanagan, who heads the ball away in midfield, well controlled there. And Redditch now looking to set May on his way up against Ryan Parsons, and Parsons wrong foot, doesn't get much on his clearance. Salmon's now on halfway, simple ball to Jones, and Redditch can build another attack.
Again, as soon as Ryan Parsons cleared the ball, there's no width for Slough on the left-hand side, and Redditch first to that second ball, and that's been the story of the entire match so far.
Yeah, I think bar the first 10 or 15 minutes when Slough perhaps was slightly quicker and brighter, and Redditch perhaps hadn't woken up quite yet. It is very much that Slough are second best in terms of to the quickness, and when the ball seems to break, there just seems to be a red shirt just that little bit closer and that little bit. That little bit faster to the ball as once again Redditch play a direct ball forward, testing Billy Jeffries, heads it clear, but it's only gone as far as Spink in the middle of midfield. Spink picks up the ball, he's got plenty of time and space to look forward, he's advancing towards the edge of the Slough box, plays it to May, who tries a fanciful touch, a left foot volley by Summons is only testing out the people seated away in the stand behind the goal, and the ball's back with Williams. But in the first half Billy Jeffries was a little bit lucky not to potentially get sent off after that challenge.
But yeah, there's a distinct lack of movement in the midfield for Slough, and played out there to Jones on the right hand side. Both Jake Parsons and Ben Edwards were just strolling in the middle, but Jake's done well to win the ball. He's gone past two, he's knocked it forwards,
and Jake
Ed's
Parsons
inside the box,
left hand edge of the box. Jake Parsons going to try and get it across. He's up against Flanagan, but he's overrunning. Jones flicks it back. That looked like a bit like a back pass, but it was picked up well by Hornby.
Yeah, and it was Jones who just knocked the ball back to the keeper. The keeper's picked it up. And while some people are calling him a back pass, the referee hasn't decided that's the case. And Ben Edwards, Guy Hollis with a terrible header on. Salmons is clean through, and it's free.
Salmons has made it 3 in the 55th minute.
55th minute.
55.
What do I write that on?
55. And Guy Hollis trying to head the ball back, headed it back, and it was only through to put Salmons clear on goal. The bobbles were helping Salmons as he broke through, ran away from Billy Jeffries and poked the ball past Williams. And this looks like Slough are once again going to be looking at a defeat on the road.
Yeah, and I reckon that Redditch will be licking their lips and they'll be going for more than the 7 goals they scored at home. Slough are playing absolutely poorly today. Terrible poor decision there by Guy Hollis with a terrible back header, and Slough just got no energy, and they're just sat there in the field, just heads down. There's no energy, there's no leadership, and Slough just look devoid of any kind of enthusiasm. And look, Billy Jeffries gets the ball, and he's just played a terrible ball across the field. And Slough need to do something, because they're being overrun and outplayed at the moment.
Yeah, and at the moment they need to roll the dice here. They're 3 goals down on the road, 10 minutes into the second half. They had the worst possible start to the second half, and Guy Hollis is now trying to manfully do what he needs to do, and somehow that throw's gone against, and Guy Hollis is throwing the ball up the line, and Ed Smith's getting involved. I think Slough need to watch themselves being frustrated, but very symptomatic of the afternoon is that Billy Jeffries headed that ball straight out when he could have quite easily kept it in, but it's...
Yeah, maybe the management team have got to start looking at some of the players that are in this squad. Some of them aren't up to this level. Yeah, especially against some of the better teams like Redditch are.
Well, I don't think you can necessarily take drastic action on one performance here this afternoon, but there certainly seems a lot of players who aren't playing to their potential, and I think that's the thing. There isn't 1 or 2 players out there that really you can say you're having a good game in a Slough jersey this afternoon. You know, compared to some of the times you've seen them over the last 18 months or so, some of these same players having tremendous games. They just seem a complete
they're
team lacking confidence,
lacking a lot of confidence in their own play. And
for me, and I don't like to say this, it's almost a bit reminiscent of that December period last season when they couldn't, they just couldn't score goals, and then all of a sudden result after result after result went against them.
There's no spark in the team either. On the far side, Dobbo's going through a warm up, But you just wonder if maybe that was the wrong thing. He should have started the game.
Yeah, no, and I think they now feel that everything's going against them. It's Guy Hollis nearly oversteps the ball, but he's going to be able to clear that one away, but it's still just not running. It's bobbled away. He's frustrated. There's a huge amount of frustration, and Slough players are going missing at the moment. Ben Edwards trying his hardest to talk to players around, and it seems to be just a quiet hush has descended on the ground as Slough need.
Oh, yeah, and even the Redditch fans, they're 3-0 up. They're quiet as mice now. They were first half. They were singing and chanting. I don't think they've actually realised that they've scored 2 goals in the second half.
As Slough trying to keep the ball a little bit over, Jake Parsons trying to play an overcomplicated Hollywood ball again through. It's overhit all the way through to Hornby, and it's just trying to force it that little bit too much, isn't it? Rather than just keeping possession, getting back in the game, let's try and hold on to the ball for 5-10 passes.
You just wonder what Slough said at half time, because obviously whatever Redditch did, bearing in mind that they've also had a goal disallowed in this second half as well. So they've scored 3, maybe only 2 counted, but we are only 12 minutes into the second half, and Slough just look all at sea. Yeah,
and I think it comes from that initial first kind of 30 seconds of the second half where they gave away a poor soft goal. If that hadn't have happened, we could be looking at a very different game here. But I think that had 2 effects. It firstly put Slough's heads down quite dramatically, and secondly Redditch's tails up, and it was their ideal start to that second half. And Guy Hollis is clearly appealing for something. I'm not quite sure what he's appealing for, and that element of the game's gone. He needs to get back and focus on what his jobs are now, as May heads the ball inside to Salmons, and George Short clipping at his heels, but Salmons quite happily to walk the ball back to Scar, and Scar right foot puts the ball down the channel, and once again Baker Richards is after Hollis there, and Hollis just
fun for you, isn't it?
I don't think Ben's on the coach, so and now now there's a strong tackle coming in from Fraser. Ben Edwards just got a bit frustrated there and pulled back at Salmons as he was pulling away,
but it just looks like every time that they're going to score.
And Slough are, it's sad to say, they are at 6s and 7s here. They seem to be inflicting it on themselves as much as anything. They're not playing anywhere near. They're bickering. They're arguing. They're just not.
And they're not on the ball.
And a short play through, and
Salmons
plays the ball. It's blocked. It's on the edge of the box. It's blocked again. It's harem scarum for Slough at the moment. They're clinging on here to not concede another, as it's Dinsley. Back to Spink forward, headed back and across there by Carline, but it's safely through to Williams, and Williams is just calming it down a little bit. There's a lot of gesturing on the far side, but the Slough management team look a little. They're changing formation. Parso's going to left back, and I think they're going to a
4-3-3,
a 4-4-2. I think it's going to be.
So Dobbo's going up front.
Dobbo's up front. Parso at the back. Helped on its way by George Short, and the Redditch fans are taking great amusement in this. A number that fourth goal, it is 4, isn't it?
4. That
fourth goal has seemed to trigger the fact that Redditch are now warming up their entire bench. So changes may be afoot shortly. As the ball's back with Hornby in the left-hand half, left-footed, plays the ball forward in the direction of Carline underneath Fraser, and Carline's struggling to keep it, and he doesn't do so. And there's now going to be a substitute. And it's going to be Lee Phillips coming into the game. So May taking a break, and on comes Phillips. Phillips coming on and trying to get some game time.
And Slough will be grateful that they've gone another 2 minutes without conceding.
Don't be like that now, Ade. And it's I mean there needs to be plenty of chat there. I don't know what's happened there between Tom Moran and Ben Edwards though, but they clearly weren't happy. There was a lot of appealing about the referee and the linesman, but did you see anything with that fourth goal? Anything wrong with
not
offside or anything like that? As Tom Moran plays the ball forward and Dobbo's after it, but it's going to be won by Hornby. This really would be a comeback of all comebacks if Slough got a goal and then
I think if Slough could actually score a goal, would be more of a something to cheer.
Yeah. Thank you. As the ball's out with Dobson, who seems to be in the right back position now at the moment for Slough. He's played through, and it's met by Salmons to Baker Richardson, edge of the box, and now it's strong tackle there from Dinsley. He's won the ball, but Fraser's come away with it, and Fraser still battling hard there against Carline, but it's won by Salmons. Salmons starting to pull a bit more strings. There's a little bit more space out there now.
It was Spink with the ball.
We've
got 2 T's on the way, by the way.
2 T's. Is it on the way now or for later?
No, I think he's going to get them now.
Okay.
It's later.
Yeah, I think it's later. I think it's after
later.
the game.
Oh, well, you've got 2 T's then. I'll be going home.
Thank you. as Williams rolls the ball outside to the edge of his box, and it's won there by Scar. Captain Ryan Parsons tries to play a 1-2 with Ben Edwards, but it's a strong win challenge there by Jones, who's hooked the ball forward, and now Billy Jeffries has gone back, hooks the ball forward, and Jake Parsons is trying to win it off Flanagan on the far side, but Redditch just seemed comfortable. And well won by Jake Parsons. Nice couple of touches, skips away from Flanagan, but got no options, no support. Has he? Inside to George Short, whose blind ball doesn't go anywhere near Ed Smith. It's hooked away there again by Scar. And then there was a push there, this time given against Baker Richardson, and then the second substitution. And this is going to be the return of to
the game, or even aggression to the Slough game at the moment.
In the Truro game, it's 2-0 now. I believe that's 2-0 to Cirencester. Against the run of play, so Cirencester winning, and the fans around us aren't very happy. You're not missing much on the pitch. It continues to Redditch to put pressure on Slough. It's plenty of space.
It looks as if Slough have had a man sent off. So they're just playing so loosely that there's no kind of cohesion to the play.
No, still at Poole 0, St Neots 0 is still a later score there.
As Williams takes a long ball forwards. Smith loses it against Scar. Comes out to Gockman. Gockman plays against Spink. And Spink commits yet another foul.
Yeah,
and it will be a free kick to Slough. It's about 30-odd yards out. And as Mr. Dobson is on the pitch.
Burnham 2, Poulton 2, a later score.
2-2.
In that game there. So they've come back. Chesham make it 6-2.
6-2.
Chesham make it 6-2. Chesham 6, Weymouth 2. Surely that can't be a real score. That's got to be some
Dobson.
sort of typo.
Chips it into the box towards George Short, but easily cleared for Redditch. It's into George Short again, but he plays it behind Ryan Parsons. And now it's Redditch on the attack with Spink. And Salmons is in the middle, totally unmarked.
In this game, if you're just joining us, it is Redditch 4, Slough 0, still Poole 0, St Neots 0. And Rugby are winning 2-0 against Chalfont in another game in another division. As long clearance from Williams, won by Scar. Jones now will try and clear it for Redditch down the line, but Jake Parsons picks it up. Slough in danger of just looking for consolation. There's still 20 minutes to go in this match as they trail by 4 goals, and it's all a little bit tight there as Ed Smith picks up the ball and just gets caught by Spink.
And it's by Spink again, and he's going to get away with it again.
It's just those sorts of niggly little fouls that he's continually done throughout the game.
How he doesn't get a yellow card just for the persistent foul, and they're not dangerous tackles, but surely any referee that sees a player commit over 7 fouls in a game should give him a yellow card.
Yeah,
but it's going to be a free kick for the Rebels. It's about 30 yards outside. It's just roughly just outside level with the left-hand post. It's Dobson to take it. He's going to put it on the penalty spot. It's deep for Billy Jeffries. It's going to come out to George Short, and Short puts that one into the wastelands behind the goal. And there you go.
Arlesey 1, Banbury 2 is another latest score. As Slough just trying to get something back into the game, and as there's still some more shouting going on from the over enthusiastic Redditch fans on the far side. It's hopefully it's better natured than it was.
I have noticed that some of the Slough fans have moved over to the near hand side to move away from the Redditch fans.
Yes, so if you're just joining us, or if it's the commentary's been cutting out at all, apologies for that. But the latest score,
if the commentary's been cutting out, it's a blessing in disguise, I think.
Yeah, as once again Redditch are on the attack here,
it's
looking
Angus
for their
fifth,
and it's Phillips Angus down that left hand side. No, that's Phillips down the left hand side.
16.
Yeah, Angus is on this side.
Was
Angus
that 15? I can never remember.
Yeah, Angus is on this side with the orange boots,
and
the orange laces.
The corner flag's been injured, and it's a final substitution for. We're on 73 minutes, and it's Baker Richardson off. And on will come number 17, Jamie Molyneux.
And I think Molyneux's the player they were talking about who broke his leg earlier in the season.
Yeah, he's coming back from a broken leg, isn't he?
So it's going to be a good 20 minutes run for him. Yeah, so Jamie Molyneux coming back into the game after breaking his leg earlier at the very start of this season. He's going to get some game time, and what better way when your team's leading 4-0 at home with 20 minutes to go. You've got to fancy it, haven't you?
Yep, exactly. Good time to bring him on, give him some run out. And against the team that's played as poorly as Slough, he's going to have some opportunities, that's for sure.
As Flanagan wins the ball in the air. George Short now helps it on its way, but it's once again Scar who hooks a long ball forward, and immediately it's going to be Phillips after it. And Jeffries just did
and he's
well
given a
enough to win
foul.
the ball
He reckons that's a foul.
and he's certainly a little bit less consistent than he was earlier in the game, and I'm getting a text from my mum. I need to take this. This is important stuff. You carry on commenting.
Oh yeah, okay, no worries. As the ball's out on the near hand side, it's going to be Dobson to take the throw in. Throws it short to Jake Parsons, being marked by 2. Jake Parsons does well. He's got the ball, but he's dislost. And Redditch can bring the ball out with Spink. Spink to Dinsley. Dinsley plays it out wide to the impressive Flanagan on the left back.
Puts the ball in.
Lovely long ball forward again, and Billy Jeffries slips.
Someone has an ironic shout of it.
Billy Jeffries has been caught there. And
we haven't got any more substitutes.
I think the referee's noticing that the flag's down, the corner flag's down.
Are they going to give Fowler a run out? Surely not.
And it does look like Slough are going to give Adam Fowler a run. Billy Jeffries has gone down, so...
Yeah, but even so, Fowler is getting stripped. So this will be the return to
not
competitive action.
He's not stripping. Don't
let
our female listeners get excited.
But
it may just be precautionary. But Billy Jeffries is down. He just got caught as he made a tackle there on the substitute Molyneux.
As it does look like Adam Fowler is going to be given 15 minutes here in his first game back. Ed Smith's just over with Neil Baker. And there's just some colourful language there from the Redditch fans. Apologies if you're hearing that about what Slough's fans are like and things like that. It still remains 0-0 in the games against St Neots. We haven't heard any more.
I think they're just going to see if Billy can run it off first.
As Supercabs finish his treatment, the light's just fading here. It's going to be interesting to see whether we can close out
the
this
game
final
abandoned.
Close out this final 15 minutes without the floodlights coming on.
Well, I don't think that Slough are going to score on a month for Sunday, so I'd rather not come back for a second game.
As Gocken just got a touch on that ball, and it's still a throw-in on the far side. Slough penned into their own penalty area. John Underwood just coming down to see Super Kev, but Billy Jeffries back on the pitch now, and it's Flanagan trying to get the ball in towards the edge of the box, and it's through to Angus. Angus, edge of the box, turns and slashes, but it's hit a couple of players. It's Ricochet taking the speed off, and it's all the way now through to Williams in the goal away to our right-hand side. So, yes.
And Williams going long, and another pointless thing from only Smith up on the top, and the ball's going to go straight through to Hornby in the goal.
And again, Ed Smith was getting quite held back there by Scar, but nothing really doing from that. It was a bit innocuous as the clouds just seem to come in a bit greyer, as a bit darker as evening starts to show its face. As that clearance by Hornley's poor.
And here comes the substitution that we were on about.
Of Adam Fowler. So Adam Fowler.
So Fowler makes his long-awaited return from that horrible knee injury that he suffered against Egham last year, and he's going to get 14-15 minutes, and we'll see if he can just hopefully go throughout the game without any kind of. As the referee's just said that it's a foul throw, is it? I don't know what he's just given there, but we just hope that Fowler comes through today without any more injuries to himself.
Yeah, I think so. And he's back on the pitch, and this is an interesting and important 15 minutes for Slough and for Fowler. Yes, this game has gone. They are losing 4-0 here at Redditch, and there's some abuse coming, quite a lot of abuse coming out to players. It seems that Redditch isn't the most hospitable place to come from fans.
Well, I think it's only that small section. I think the general hospitality that we've received today has been really good. It's a free kick to Slough on the far hand side. Again, Dobson will go over to take this one. He's going to put it into the box. And
this would be a good time to get
to
start the comeback. This would be the good time to start the comeback.
Fowler's gone forward, so maybe that's
his first touch could be this. So it's tight on the far side, left-footed, whipped in towards the far post. Fowler after
too close
well held
the goalkeeper
there by Hornby, and Hornby just quite happy to just waste a little bit of time before he gets it on his left foot. Volleys it out in the direction of Phillips on that far side. Phillips heads it back in field. Salmons gets on the ball and now cleared long by Flanagan. And Fraser just watches the ball out. And it's kind of going through the motions a little bit at the moment, isn't it, out there?
Yeah, it is indeed. I think that Redditch have taken their foot off the gas, scoring those 3 goals in the first 15 minutes of the second half. They've just slowed their play down, and they're looking for the ball over the top all the time. And Slough just dealing with it slightly a little bit better, but they're offering very little going forwards. Apart from that first 15 minutes of the first half, Slough have been fairly poor going forwards, and it's been the story of their 2015 really, apart from the Weymouth game.
Yeah, as Williams fires the ball forward, headed on by George Short, and it's Gocken on the far side, far corner, trying to pass it back to Short, and it's Phillips, who's a sprightly substitute, making his way all the way back out there to clear it out, and Guy Hollis will go forward for a long throw. Fowler's making his way forward, and Slough are trying to desperately get this game going. There's no sign of a ball as yet. It's a fan's had to climb over 2 fences into the long grass field to our left and picked up that ball. But we have played.
We've funny how they got 3 stewards behind the goal and not one of them goes and gets
long throw in by Guy Hollis, headed by Fowler, but it's straight into the arms of Hornby. But Fowler's had his first touch. He attacked that ball quite well, and it's bowled out immediately to Angus on the near side. Angus inside, and Spink helps it on its way. And now it's Molyneux down this right hand side up against Sean Fraser, plays it inside to Angus, and Angus theoretically goes down in between 2 players, and he would have done better to have stayed on his feet and tried to take the ball forward, wouldn't he?
But I mean, the worrying thing for Slough was as the ball was played forward, Luke Williams come chasing out of his goal for absolutely no reason whatsoever. Ryan Parsons was there covering, and if it'd been lobbed, it would have been totally his fault. He didn't need to come out that far. He's not making the best of decisions today.
No, as Williams clears the ball long in the direction of Dobson. Dobson wins it ahead of Jones, and now Short picks up in the middle of midfield. But a first-time ball, he would have done better to take a control. Applauded, though, by Jake Parsons extra, and trying to play it through to Gocken on the right-hand side. It's all the way through to Hornby. As we go into the final 10 minutes of this match, it remains Redditch United 4, Slough Town 0. Slough trailing 1-0 at half-time, and it was probably slightly unfair on them. They probably deserved to go in probably level, but their second half started woefully with a goal within 30 seconds where no one picked up. Richardson Baker on the far side, and Dobson tries to play a ball to himself, but again it's his continued form. He doesn't quite. Again,
Smith's made the wrong run, and Dobbo's having to chase his own ball forwards.
And Fowler actually adding some noise out there. That was the first time you really heard one of the Slough players shouting quite a long time when he was shouting for them to squeeze up. And now it's coming forward by Spink, who's been a thorn in Slough's side, to the right hand edge of the box up against Parsons. He's fired it inside. Heavy touch though by Molyneux.
And then Sean Fraser, poor touch away to Flanagan.
And Redditch still asking questions of Slough. They're pushing for a fifth here. It's with Jones on the right hand side, shut down by Ryan Parsons. Does well to step and pull the ball away. It's to Angus back all the way to Spink, and Spink just dodges around Dobson, going cross field towards his own half, plays it back to Scar, and Redditch just happy to keep the ball at the moment and almost toy with Slough.
But they're looking for that ball over the top again, and Fowler does well to see off Molyneux. And Williams trying with that long kick again, though. Slough being outnumbered, it's going to go straight through to Hornby and goal. And it's a waste of possession.
Tommy Wright of Corby has got sent off, straight red, so I'm not sure what the Corby manager's done today to deserve that, but he obviously wasn't in a very good mood with them trailing 3-1, being a player to the good. He's now evened that up, so I think it's both sides with 10 men. Tommy Wright has got sent off. Interesting to see what his post-match interview says.
Well, I wouldn't really want to listen to it.
Oh, do you not like him?
No, not at all. There's not much going on there as Fowler wins ahead. It's out for a throw-in on the far-hand side for the Rebels. Sean Fraser's going to take it. Almost level with the home dugout, sorry. So Ben Edwards. Ben Edwards gets it back. Plays it out wide to Ryan Parsons, but it's a poor ball. Parsons got to play it forward with his wrong foot. Ball's run out and it's come out to Fraser, but he's not first to it again. And the ball over the top is this time it's going to come to Williams way outside of his box.
Molyneux shutting him down slightly, and then Williams fires the ball out left in the direction of Dobson. Jones taking a ride on him and nothing doing for that, and Jones comes away with the ball, flicks it onto Angus, and now Dobson's after Angus. And Dobson did very well, but now it's picked up.
Spink.
Spink plays the ball forward, and Ben Edwards, who's been less involved in the game in the last 15-20 minutes, perhaps his old legs are tiring a little bit, but Jake Parsons now, middle of the D, plenty of time and space, flicks the ball through to Ed Smith, but it's been pursued by Flanagan, and Flanagan's going to shut him down. He's trying to try and play the ball back.
Gopman's just got into the box.
Plays it all the way back to Ben Edwards, and he's got Salmons on his tail. Plays it out right, but misses the short pass. It goes through to Fraser. Slough at least keeping a ball to Edwards.
Why couldn't they have done this for most of the game?
To Ed Smith, and it's
a foul tackle from behind, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a little bit of a naughty tackle, you'd have thought. As Parsons gets in the way of the ball intended through for Angus, but it looked a little bit naughty, and I can imagine that Ed Smith might at some point
the red mist will
stick one back on him, and as Dinsley comes through, and Redditch just that bit hungry, and they want that fight that little bit more, don't they?
Yeah, I think they kind of, with the substitutions that they've made, they've taken a little bit of pace out of the and confidence out of the team, putting in some players just to give them a bit of game time. As George Short does well to win the ball, but it's picked up by Scar, who immediately again plays that long ball over the top. Fraser trying to see it out, but he takes his time. And it was won there by Phillips, and Phillips, it just went through to Williams. But again, Fraser was easily the first favourite for the ball, and he never got there. There's a poor kick by Williams.
Finds Angus
out
on the
to
halfway
Molyneux.
line.
Was it Angus?
Angus, yeah. Angus tries to fire the ball forward. Now Parsons picks up the ball, fires it to Dobson. Dobson actually in the attacking third, running towards the byline. First time cross, there's no Slough player within the 18-yard box.
And that's such a poor cross, it's actually gone out into the wastelands in behind. And
it just sums up Slough's afternoon. Dorchester have scored, I understand, in their game, so they may have doubled their lead against Histon. It's getting a bit dark here. Then it's whether or not they want to put it yard line. George Short gets a foot in. It's still in the Slough box. Salmons with facing away from goal has the ball at his feet.
To Dinsley.
Edge of the box. Dinsley drives on block. George Short. It's fallen to the edge of the box and it's Spink. And Spink fires a volley and it's well wide. As we have 5 minutes here at the Valley Stadium. Redditch 4, Slough 0. Some of the locals seem to be making their way out.
Our next game down here at the Valley is on Monday, March the 9th, when Hitchin visitors, Monday, March 9th.
So next game for Redditch here is against Hitchin as Williams. Long kick, won by Dobbo to Jake Parsons. Jake Parsons does well to take it down. Immediately tackled by Spink.
Spink and Kinsley have been really winning that midfield battle as Dinsley just plays a ball.
And the ball's played over the top for Molyneux.
And Molyneux just down against Guy Hollis, and Guy Hollis just doing well to stand him up and keep him away from goal. But he's now turned inside, and now he's run away from him. He's running into the box, and then he's tripped up. Penalty. You can't argue with that. He did clip him, didn't he?
Yep. Ryan Parsons it is with the foul.
So it's going to be a penalty to Redditch. Deep into the game, their opportunity to get their 5th goal. So it's going to be Williams to try and prevent this 5 goal. And I mean, this will be their 12th goal, and it's going to be the return.
They're going to give it to Molyneux, the guy that's just come back from the
it's a nice
broken leg.
He won that penalty himself. He got tripped by Ryan Parsons. Towards the edge of the box, he's stood up, hands on hips. He's a tall, lanky figure. Williams in the goal. He steps up, puts it to the wide, put it wide of the goal. He's put it to the left-hand side. He rolled it along the floor. Williams went the right way, and it was outside and wide of the post. And it's coming in the 87th minute.
At 4-0 down.
And 4-0 down. Jake Parsons doing well. He's surrounded by 2 Redditch players, and Spink does well. And now Gocken's getting stuck in on Spink, but now Dobson. And now it's Dobson getting stuck in. All Slough players really having a little bit of a go, but it's all come a little bit too late.
4 goals too late, isn't
and
it?
Now it's almost
85 minutes too late.
Now it's 4-on-4 for Slough defending. It's gone through to Salmons, 20 yards from the edge of the box. He tries to flick it through to Molyneux, but it's cut out by Short and a combination of Fowler. Nice to see Fowler out on the pitch. That's one of the few positives to take from today.
Yep, it is indeed. As Gockman's poor touchdown, he's headed the ball out. And
still 3-1 to Biggleswade against Corby.
And George Short and Guy Hollis are down on their knees. They're over their haunches. They're absolutely knackered. I think George's first full game for 2 months, so he's maybe lacking a little bit of match fitness. So is Ben Edwards.
And we're just waiting for game to get back underway with Flanagan on the halfway line. Throws it in towards the feet of Phillips. Phillips plays the ball back to Dinsley. Dinsley plays an odd-looking ball out to the right back position, but Redditch still asking questions right into the dying depths of the game. We're in the final minute of the 90, and it's now Jake Parsons picking up the ball deep inside the Slough half. Plays a long aerial ball through, and Ed Smith's onside. He's taken a heavy touch, and he's going away to corner. It's no time to waste time now, Ed. We're not that desperate.
Yeah, he's trying to play it into the corner. He's lost the ball to Jones, and Jones can bring it out.
Spink now helping the ball away. Redditch playing football deep in their own half, comfortable to create space, and Spink's now done well again. He's looked to play in the ball into the feet of Angus. Angus gets the 1-2, and now Spink driving forward. He's got buffeted off the ball there, but nothing doing. And now Angus is after Ryan Parsons. Parsons does well. Controlled well by Ben Edwards on the halfway line. Skips away from Spink. Looks for a ball out to Fraser on the halfway line. Spink just again leaves a little bit on Ben Edwards after that ball's gone, and Ben Edwards doesn't react at all. Ball through to Jake Parsons. Jake Parsons clips it out to Gocken on the right side. Gocken plays it in towards the feet of Ed Smith. It's running all the way across goal.
Sean Fraser with the chance.
He's facing away from goal. He's played it to George Short, and George Short fires a ball in. It's wide of the goal. Doesn't really have Hornby scrambling, and we're in the 93rd minute here at the Valley Stadium. Redditch heading for 3 points. Slough yet again failing to trouble the scorers. It's going to be at least 4-0. It could be worse, but it's
Especially
getting
with the missed penalty, disallowed goal in the second half. Second half, it's all been Redditch.
and
that is the final whistle.
Slough.
And a good result for Redditch, whose second half performance have deserved their victory. But Slough will come away from the Valley Stadium extremely disappointed with their second half display. They've not been at the doors today, and Slough will need to do a lot better next Saturday at home to Cambridge City. So the final score here from the Valley Stadium, Bromsgrove Road in Redditch, is Redditch United 4, Slough Town 0.
Yeah, and in other games it looks as if it may potentially be Chesham 7, Weymouth 2. Banbury are now level against Arlesey. Arlesey nil, Arlesey 2, Banbury 2.
And the Slough players, even though they're dejected, have still taken the time to go and support give the Rebels fans a clap for their support today. But Redditch by far the better team in the second half.
And Froome 4-0. I don't know who Froome
Dunstable 0, Froome 4.
Yeah, could well have been. So Dunstable's troubles go from bad to worse. They've got no manager, and Slough players just making their way off down in front of us. Not all looking very happy. They're looking a little bit dejected, and it hasn't been a good day at the office for them. And disappointing game as Redditch are out on the pitch having a little bit of a huddle. And we'll sign off. We'll see you all next weekend back at
home to
Holloway's, home to Cambridge City, and hopefully Slough will have a few familiar faces back and be in a position to put out a better performance. We're bad at the moment, and so we'll have to. Our performance, our streaming is bad, so apologies